Howdy, this is Mr. Potter, and we are on episode 3 of BitBurner. I went ahead and let my machine run overnight while I was working. So I worked my 8-hour shift while I was at the food and stuff, and you can see over here some of my stats came up. My strength, dexterity, defense, and agility are up in the 60s. My charisma's in the 80s. I let my servers run overnight, and I did want to talk a little bit about what I did with the servers, but there were several messages that popped up overnight, and I want to talk about those as well. Offline for 7 hours, 56 minutes, 41 seconds. While you're offline, your scripts earned $15 million, and your hacknet nodes generated $387,000, and I gained no reputation. All right, so if I click out of here, you'll notice a couple of things have happened over here on the left. One of which is I have the ability to create some new programs. So I've got this brute SSH, FTP crack, deep scan 1, and server profiler. Now, if you notice when I do scan, oh, that's right, I'm still logged into this, and I'll explain about that in just a second. But if I do scan, you'll notice that Iron Jim has this not root access, and if I do, scan analyze, you'll notice that it says number of open ports required to nuke 1. Right now, I don't have the access to open ports, and so I'm going to need programs to do that. Luckily, these programs that I can create, such as brute SSH, is one that I can do. And I'll go ahead and work on that in the background while I'm talking about some of the other stuff. But I can, basically what happens is when I log into a system and I do analyze, it gives me an analysis of the system, and it tells me there are certain ports that are open. The secure shell, the FTP, the mail port, the web port, and the SQL port. Right now, all of these are closed. And these programs over here allow me to break into those ports. So I can get in there and I can break the port, and then I can use nuke to hack the server. One of the other things that you may have noticed is if I do a scan, you'll notice that I have actually given myself root access to all of these. While I was not recording, I went ahead and I broke into each of these and I ran programs on them. So that's part of why I'm earning money in the background. That's why I have this $100 million. Another thing, if I do a quick ls, I will notice that I have my foo.script. So if I do cat for foo.script, you can see this is what I was trying to do yesterday, last time we were recording. I wanted to be able to run a particular method, and the issue is the servers.forEach that I was trying to do. I couldn't use an existing method like weaken or grow or hack. I needed to have a callback method that I created. So I created a function called foo. Given an element, it's going to weaken the element. And I can change this to weaken to grow, or I can change it to hack, and it's going to run that command over and over again as long as it's true. And it's going to do it for each of the servers. Now I hacked Joe's Guns, Hong Feng Tea, and Harakiri Sushi offline, so those are going right now. So if I go to my active scripts, you'll notice that I have scripts running on all of these boxes. On Noodles, I have foo running twice, and both of these are going to weaken. So if I actually go to the logs, you can see that I have been weakening all of these servers in the background. Their security levels have been going down. And if I do the same thing for food and stuff, you'll notice that I've got 9 of these scripts running. These are a little bit more efficient than the scripts I was doing before. And if I take a look at the log, this one is causing each server to grow. So what's happening, if I go back to each of these, and I'll close this off, this is my home server, so this is where I'm running normal scripts. But Noodles is weakening, Foodstuff is growing, and Sigma Cosmetics is hacking. And then Joe's Gun is weakening, Hong Feng is growing, and Harakiri Sushi is hacking. And so I've got this cycle going on where I have 6 different computers other than my home computer attacking each of the other systems. So that works out really well. Other thing I'm going to do is that I also got a message from Jumper. So if I do cat j2.msg, this message came up overnight. Says, do not try to save the world. There is no world to save. If you want to find the truth, worry only about yourself. Ethics and morals will get you killed. Watch out for a hacking group known as NightSec. And this is from Jumper. And then I also got another message called nightsec. So if I do cat nightsec test.msg, says people say that the corrupted governments and corporations rule the world. Yes, maybe they do. But you know who everyone really fears? People like us. Because they can't hide from us, because they can't fight the shadows and ideas with bullets. Join us and people will fear you too. Find and install the backdoor on our server, then we will contact you again. Nightsec. So I've got this nightsec.msg on my home computer, that message. Now I've got AutoLink, which is going to allow me to use Scan Analyze to directly connect to computers. I've got this Flight, which I still don't know what Flight does. And then I've also got this CSEC test.message over here. So if I can't CSEC test.msg, we've been watching you. Your skills are very impressive, but you're wasting your talents. If you join us, you can put your skills to good use and change the world for the better. If you join us, we can unlock your full potential, but first you must pass our test. Find and install the backdoor on our server, CyberSec. So that's what I'm going to look at. One other thing has happened in the background. So all of this stuff is stuff that happened while my computer was running overnight, and I really wish I had a chance to show it. But I have this idea that I can actually join a faction. I've been invited to the Sector 12 faction. So I'm going to go ahead and join. So now I'm a part of the Sector 12 faction. So with being a part of the Sector 12 faction, currently have a reputation that's growing. I perform carry-out work assignments for your faction, help further its cause. By doing so, you will earn reputation. You will also gain reputation passively over time, although at a very slow rate. Earning reputation will allow you to purchase augmentations, which are powerful ways to enhance your ability. So I can do hacking contracts. Your effectiveness, which determines how much reputation you gain, is based on your hacking skill, and I gain hacking experience. I can do field work. I can do security work, and I can purchase augmentations. So unlock donations at 150 favor with Sector 12. So I can eventually get to the point where if my favor is high enough, I can actually get donations. If I do security, this actually depends on my combat, and these numbers just look rather low to me given my hacking skill is 4 times as high. So I'm going to look at this hacking contracts here. I'm going to click on that and see what happens. It says you're currently carrying out hacking contracts for your factor, and your current faction reputation is 2.8. It's slowly going up. It tells me how much I'm earning. Here's the reputation that I'm earning for this faction. I'll automatically finish after working for 20 hours. I can cancel earlier if I wish. This is something I could do simultaneously, but I did want to continue working on that brute SSH program. I'm almost done with it, about 85% done. So being a part of this faction means that I can do some stuff. We will have fun with that as we go through the game. When I do my scan, it tells me all the computers that are really close to me, and Scan Analyze allows me to get a little bit more of an analysis. But if I do Scan Analyze with a 2, this actually tells me all the computers that are 2 away from where I'm at. So I see all of the computers that I normally connect to, but I see under food and stuff, I could connect to 0 and I could connect to max hardware. Both of these require open ports to nuke. Both of these require a fairly high hacking skill, but mine is high enough. Similarly, if I go down here, I can see Nectar.net is another one that requires a hacking skill, but doesn't require a port. And then I see that CSEC, and we had that message from CSEC a little bit earlier. So I'm going to connect to Iron Gym, and I'm going to worry about hacking this Nectar.net. So I'm going to connect to, I finished my brute SSH. And that's on my home computer. So what I'll do is in the background, I'll work on this FTP crack. So I'm going to connect to Iron Gym. And I'm going to connect to Nectar.net, or excuse me, -net. So now I'm connected on Nectar-net, and now I could do a scan on here and see what computers are close, but only Iron Gym is close. If I do a analyze, I'm doing an analysis of this system, and I see, hey, this system has $2.75 million for me to get. If I want to hack and backdoor, it's going to take 20 levels. So I'm going to go ahead and run nuke.exe, and I've gained root access, so now I can hack and see if I can get some money from this server. If I can get money from this server, then I'm going to want to take that script that I've got and add one more server to it and try and add to it. So hack successful in nectar.net, gained this, and my security is increased here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back home, and I've got this noodle script, this foodstuff script, and the Sigma script. I'm going to just copy the Sigma script. So I'm going to copy Sigma, or SCP, excuse me, SCP Sigma. And I want to copy that to Iron Gym. Excellent. And now I'm going to connect to Iron Gym, and I'm going to SCP that file over to this new nectar-net. I can't do it. Oh, I need to send the file to nectar.net. Okay, so I know what I did there. This is going to be the sigma.script. And then I'm going to connect to nectar-net. Now, over here, if I do a scan, this is going to tell me all the computers that it has access to, only Iron Gym and itself. So if I can change this sigma.script to nectar.script, and that's just going to change the name of it. So now if I nano nectar.script, what I can do is I can go ahead and change this to the name of the server that I want to hack, which is nectar.net. So I'll go ahead and save that, close this, and now what we can do is we can run multiple instances of this, run nectar.script on this server. So I'm going to run a second instance, I'm going to run a third instance, a fourth instance, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth, a ninth. Don't have enough to do that. So if I look at analyze, I can see that I've got this, but if I do PS, I can see that I've got 8 different scripts running on this server, and all 8 of these scripts are hacking this particular server. So I should be gaining some money in the background, should be gaining some hack levels as well. So that's basically what I did, is that I went to each of these systems. I used SCP to copy a script over to that system and then ran that script on that system. So just a little bit of what I was doing there. Now, if I do scan, notice that I've got this Iron Gym down here, which I do not have root access to. So if I connect to Iron Gym and do an analyze on it, I'm going to notice that I need to have one open port for nuke. Now keep in mind, I just created a program. The program that I created was called, and I completely forgot what it was called. I think it was brute.ssh.exe. So if I go over here and I run brute.ssh.exe, I've opened system port 22. Now I should be able to run nuke.exe, and now I've gained root access to this system. So now I should be able to hack. And goodness, notice how slow this hack is. This one requires a hacking skill of 100 in order to do it. And since my skill level is 229, it's taking a while. It's going to take 30 seconds. There's a 52% chance of being successful at it. So we're going to watch slowly. Maybe it'll be successful, maybe I won't. This is definitely why you want to use scripts to do stuff like this. So. Failed to hack. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back home. I'm going to copy, now I'm going to secure copy my, what was the script? What was the script that I wanted to do? I called it Sigma, so we're just going to secure copy sigma.script to Joe's Guns. No, not Joe's Guns, Iron Gym. Iron Gym. Okay. So now if I connect to Iron Gym, and now I nano Sigma script, Sigma dot script, then I should be able to go over here and replace this with Iron Gym. I want to save, I want to close. I'm going to move it to Sigma script to Iron script. And I'm just going to run Iron script. And since I've already hacked this system, I can hack the system repeatedly. So I should be able to run several copies of this. And notice this is a bigger system. It was a more robust system, so I can actually do more with this. 15, 16, 17. Okay, I can only do 17 instances of this. All right, now, one other thing that I notice here is that I've got this CSEC computer, and I remember the message that I had in CSEC where it basically said, hey, try and hack us if you can. So I'm going to connect to CSEC. Okay, I'm going to analyze. And I'm looking at this. Can run scripts on this host? No. Required hacking level 57. I've got at least a level 57. So, security is 0. Interesting. Chance is 85%. Timed hack is 8.9. Total money available 0. Required number of ports 1. So I need a backdoor port. So I'm going to run brute ssh.exe. Open port 22. All right, so now if I run nuke.exe, I've gained access. So now let's see what happens when I try and hack. Failed hack. Successful. Gained no money. Interesting. What was it called? Flight.exe, I thought. Let's go home real quick and see what my files were. I have received a faction invitation. Would I like to join CyberSec? Let's decide later. So I've got an outstanding faction invitation from there. I've also got my my Sector 12 invitation. Interesting. So let's see. Cat csec text.msg. First, you have to pass our test, find and install the backdoor on our server. So I have to find and then install. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see. So we'll scan. I remember, let's see, if I connect to Joe's Guns, I do an ls, I have my foo script that I've got running. This is just the script that's constantly weakening or growing or hacking. I've got this on my first 6 servers, and I'll probably clean this up a little bit later offline. If I do a scan here, the only thing I can do is go home. What was I wanting to do? Scan, analyze 2, which is going to tell me which ones are a little bit farther away. I've got this 0, and I've got max hardware. And both of those I could hack. But I really want to look at the CSEC. Interesting. So what do I have available? I've got flight.exe, I've I've got root SSH. I'm currently working on FTP crack. What other programs could I do? I've got FTP crack, which is what I'm working on. I got Deep Scan V1, which allows me to scan a little bit larger. I've got Server Profiler, which is used to display hacking and NetScript related information about servers. Interesting. I may want to run that next. All right, terminal. I want to know what this flight.exe does. So run flight.exe. And it keeps telling me no. Is there like some special character in there that I'm missing? Augmentations, money, and hacking skills. So it looks like those give me a little bit of information about myself, because the money is how much money I have. My hacking skill is my own personal hacking skill. It looks like this gives me information about myself. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to connect to Iron Gym. I'm going to connect to CSEC. I'm going to scan, and this has access to Fantasy and Omega Net. If I do scan and if I do analyze, for hack and backdoor, can I just do run backdoor? No such. Okay, so if I do an ls, democracy is dead.lit. They rose from the shadows on the street, from the places where their oppressed meet. They cried, their cries echoed loudly through the air as they did once in Tiananmen Square. Loudness in the silence, darkness is the light. They came forth with power and might. Once the beacon of democracy, America was first, its pillars of society destroyed and dispersed. Soon the cries rose everywhere with revolt and riot, until one day finally all was quiet. From the ashes rose a new order. Corporatocracy was its name. Rome, Mongol, Byzantine, all history is just the same, for man will never change in a fundamental way, and democracy is dead in the USA. Okay. That's depressing. All right, so can I SSH to CSEC? No, I can't. Okay, help. Help is going to tell me all the commands that I have. I've got wget, which is going to retrieve code. Weaken, vim, it's another text editor. Sudo v is going to tell me whether or not I have root access. I've got scan, analyze, run. I can remove ps, nano, move. I've got mem, which tells me how much memory I've got. lscpu tells me how many cores I've got. Free, I can do a mathematical expression. I can download scripts from my computer. That's good to know. I've got check, which allows me to print a script's logs to the computer. I've got backdoor, install a backdoor on the current machine. So if I connect, if I do, I don't want to install one on my home machine. I want to connect to Iron, then connect to CSEC. And now if I just do backdoor, backdoor successful. Okay, so and they wanted to see if I could put a backdoor on here. So now hack doesn't do what I'm expecting it to do. What do I do if I do help? Does this have any other options that I don't have normally? I could buy a program through the dark web. Huh. It's only 8 gigabytes of memory free on here. I'm going to go home and I'm going to reread that file. First, you must pass our test, find and install the backdoor on our server. Which I've done. Okay. What was the other one I've got here? NightSec test.msg. Find and install the backdoor on our server, NightSec. If I do scan analyze 3, I should be able to see 3 levels in here, but I still don't see NightSec anywhere. So I may need to actually focus on getting these programs set up. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to the city. This is the kind of the last thing that I want to do here. So I've got the World Stock Exchange, which I could go to, and I'm about halfway to having enough money to buying an account for there. But I really can't do anything else with either of that. Let's see, what else can I do? I've got Icarus Microsystems. I can apply for a business job, IT job, software consulting job, software job. I can infiltrate the company. Interesting. Right now, I could actually sign up for a software job. I was offered a new job at Icarus Microsystems as a software intern, so now I could be able to just kind of work in the background if I wanted to, if I don't want to lose the progress that I'm doing there. So I'm just going to have that running in the background so I can get back to my create programs. The FTP crack was the one that I was working on. Deep scan is going to allow me to scan further so I can find that other place. I've got scripts running on all of these computers all over the world, all over my city, I should say. All right, back to the city. I've got Rothman University, and I could take a computer science class. Universal Energy, I could apply for jobs. I've got the slums. I could shoplift, rob a store, mug somebody, commit larceny, deal drugs, bond forgery, traffic illegal arms, homicide, grand theft auto, kidnap and ran. I don't think I'm ready to commit crime yet. I've got a travel agency. I've got 4 Sigma. What's 4 Sigma? Oh, it's just another place I can get a job. NSA. I could apply for a job working for the NSA, but I don't have enough skill for any of that. Delta One. It's another IT job. There's Iron Gym. I could work out and train to get some of these things up. But I know working at the grocery store is going to do that for me. I've got City Hall. A businessman is yelling at a clerk, you should come back later. Alpha ENT. Interesting. I can apply for a business job, software consultant, or I could upgrade my system. Interesting. More RAM means more scripts on home. You can order bigger servers via scripts. We don't take custom orders in person. So I could purchase more servers, or I could increase my system. That's an interesting choice. So I could purchase a 2 GB server, a 4 GB server, an 8 GB server. I can order bigger servers via scripts. We don't take custom orders in person. Let's see, if I do a Tor router, let's see what this does. You have access to the dark web. I can use scan, analyze, search for dark web connections. Interesting. I can upgrade my home computer. So now I can run more scripts on my home computer. And I could purchase another server. Let's see, if I purchase this, let's just call this server 1. Server successfully purchased with this hostname server 1. Okay. So if I go back home and I do scan, notice that I now have a dark web connection and I do have a server 1 connection. So I could connect to server 1 and have it run stuff for me out in the internet. But I'm interested. If I connect to dark web, you're now connected to the dark web. From the dark web, you can purchase illegal items. Use the buy-L command to display a list of all the items you can buy. Use buy item name to purchase an item. Use buy-A to purchase all the unknown items. So if I do buy-L, Well, I could buy all of these commands that I'm working, so I could buy extra programs. They cost quite a bit of money, so I don't think I'm ready for that. But I've got some good stuff here. Interesting. All right. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stop here. I'm hoping next time I can do a little bit of research as well as buff up some of my skills. But do some research and figure out what I need to do for the CSEC and for the other, for the NightSec for their tests. And hopefully we can try and take their tests. So once again, this is Mr. Potter. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.